What would you say is the one thing you can't forgive a person for? The father of my child cheated on me with my mom. They are now living together as a couple. I can never forgive them. Edit, you guys have floored me. None of my posts have ever got this much attention. Thanks for your kind words, and your funny jokes making me smile, and thanks so much for the gold. Yes, I do have custody of my son. I work 2 jobs so he can thrive, and it's a real struggle, but I'm keeping it together. He still sees my mom and my ex once or twice a week. But as much as it heals me, I can't cut them off from my son's life. If I remove a loving father from my 2-year-old's life, that makes me the real deadbeat. Things may change though. The process I'm going through gets more and more bitter with each day, and I simply can't look at them. Above all of this comes my child, and I must hold it together for him. Oh no. I can't even imagine what you're going through, let alone your child. Hell. Child 6 abuse. Edit, holy crap. This blew up. Thanks for the gold. Kind stranger S. And anyone that knows about it and lets it continue to happen. My wife's family taking my distress at losing my wife at 39 as weakness and trying to take advantage to get whatever they could. Nope, can't forget that one. That is beyond shitty. Being distressed over losing your closest loved one as weakness? Do they not have any feelings for their own family member? Marrying a family member's rapist. Knowingly. Geez, that's mind-blowing. Very scary. I would have to move far away. That's just crazy. Hurting anyone that can't defend themselves. It's an extremely cowardly act. Wow, I thought airbenders got wiped during the 100-Year War. Though I agree. Not simply doing something bad once, but doing it on purpose, enjoying it, and continuing to do it. A person can't be forgiven until they've stopped for good or honestly fight the urge to do it again. The best apology is changed behavior. Using a person's kindness for their own gain. My mom forgetting I had cancer and never once called me for 9 months during my treatment. She was never around anyways and would forget my birthday, so I guess I should have expected it. Haven't talked to her in about a year. I don't need that toxicity in my life. Edit, thank you for the silver. I just want to say thank you to everyone. It's amazing to see so many caring and loving people. Just so everyone knows, I'm about 10 months cancer-free. And I have to say, even though it was an extremely terrifying and heartbreaking experience, I'm glad I went through it. I'm a much stronger person with a more positive outlook on life. Or at least I try, lol. What the duck? That's horrible. Gosh. I'm so sorry you had to deal with that. I had a hysterectomy at the ripe age of 32. And never had a chance to have children with my husband. My sister is an alcoholic and she gets very mean when she's drunk. She was upset with me one evening and she was leaving me message after message because I wouldn't pick up. I listened to one. I probably shouldn't have. She said, "You will never know what it's like to have children. You wouldn't have been a good mom." Pretty much saying I deserve it. She's 48 and knows better. But I don't think I can forgive her. She goes too far. But she's in rehab now for her 10th time. My stepmom cheating on my dad. He's such a good guy and has done so much for her, including adopting her son from a previous marriage. And she ducking destroyed him. My stepmother cheated on my dad too. They agreed to go to therapy, but she continued cheating. Then she kicked him out of their house because she was tired of paying for hotels to be with her boyfriend. A few years later, while they were separated but not yet divorced, my dad got really sick. He was in the hospital in a coma, and the evil stepmother opened up a bunch of credit cards in my dad's name and ran up over $50,000 in charges. She's a monster. I haven't talked to her since my father's funeral. And will never forgive her for the way she treated him. Purposefully harming a child or animal. Do mosquitoes count? Because I feel absolutely no remorse and I usually heal them with fire. Breaking the trust you had in them even when you gave them a second chance. I've given people far too many second chances. To the point that I'm even skeptical about even giving second chances anymore. Since I know I'll just be hurt in the long run. If they lie extensively and try to cover it up, break your heart, and then lie to you again. But you have no way to prove it. You end things but always wonder if you've made a mistake. My mom does this. I don't think I can break up with my mom though. I just stop believing in her. Other than the obvious, committing a violent or sexual offense, close friends or family suddenly ghosting me. It's cruel to leave someone twisting in the wind. Sack up and tell me that you don't want to be a part of my life for whatever reason, and then move on. This is sad because my dad has issues with his siblings and his side of the family. I love my paternal cousins, but since I am still living with my parents, I am not allowed to have any contact with them. I haven't seen them in about 7 years, when I was 12. I miss them so bad. Once I move out, I'm going to go visit them. First thing. They've tried to reach out and it breaks my heart every time. But I have to delete their messages. Parents are extremely snoopy. The only thing that makes me feel a bit better is that they know about the tension between our parents and they know that I'm not allowed to talk to them. It really sucks, though. Well, if you know me, then it's not surprising. I can't forgive drunk driving. I moved to the United States around 5 years ago from Ireland. 2 years after I did, I was in the car with my family when we were hit by a drunk driver. In the crash, everyone in my family thankfully wasn't hurt except me, due to shrapnel as well as inhalation of toxic fumes. I now am covered in scars and can no longer speak at all other than small squeaks. Because one person decided to drive after drinking. It changed my life and the life of my family forever. Don't drink and drive, people. Not just for your own safety, but everyone's safety. Edit, thanks for the silver. I'm still new to Reddit, so this is awesome. Thanks for the support. Edit 2, wow, a gold. I didn't think my story was all that special. Thanks a ton. My mother dated this piece of shit guy. He acted nice at first, but then turned into a complete asshat. This was on again off again relationship. He would hit me and abuse me when my mom was around, and even when she let him hit me. I was scared for my life one time when her and him were fighting. I had to grab a belt and whack him across his back in order to get him off of her. He chased me up the stairs and threatened to snap my neck. This was back when I was 9. The worst part is, despite all the fuck-up things he did to my sister and me, my mom still had a child with the man. He doesn't pay child support and he barely has place of his own. He still live in apartment house in his 50s. He wanted to go to the NBA, but was too stupid and stubborn to finish college. He blames his behavior on his upbringing, as his dad treated him the same. I'm not his son. He was never married to my mom. I have no reason to contact him even if he's the dad of my little sister. Visitation with him and my sister are limited because I was living on the house. I don't feel sad nor guilty for having that power over their relationship. It's my sister's fault that she's in this world. But I hope she know that her dad is piece of shit. I hope one he does, so I can spit on his grave. Have you ever figured out why your mother let him abuse you and your sister? Did she blame you for ruining her life by having you, or some bullshit like that, or was she a drug addict? If it's a spouse or partner cheating, I would say I could forgive, but I couldn't forget. I'm not going to hate them for the rest of my life. But I sure as hell won't trust them like that again. When I was raped, my best friend didn't want to believe me. Said it wasn't her place to take sides. I tried so hard to keep the relationship functioning. But that trauma defined me for years. And she only ever acknowledged it with, if that did happen. At her 21st birthday she invited him to the party. And didn't tell me until I was already there. I left immediately and never replied to a text or call from her again. It's been years. Been exactly where you are. Cut those assholes out and never looked back. My father cheated on my mom when she had stage 4 cancer. I was 23 at the time and ended up giving up my apartment and moving back home to take care of her. She had squamous cell carcinoma on her foot, so they had to amputate most of her leg and she was in a lot of pain. One night I heard them arguing and he said, "Well, I can't get it from you, so I'll have to get it somewhere else." He ended up spending most of his time at the house of some woman he met from the neighborhood. My brothers, who never so much as visited our mom during the time she was sick, tell me I'm overreacting and I should just get over it. So long as I'm drawing breath. I'll never forgive that son of a bitch for treating my mom that way. And I'll continue to be estranged from my brothers. 2. Jesus. People like this make me hope Egyptian hell is real. He'd be put on trial. Have his wife testify against him and have his fed to a demon crocodile while having his heart ripped out to do it forever, wandering lost and forgotten. Sweet justice. My first relationship was ended by a mutual friend who talked behind my back. She managed to convince my boyfriend that I was an asshole for studying instead of partying with him. I wanted to give us financial stability so he could pursue his art career. After we broke up, she tried to form a relationship with him, and failed miserably. I still talk to my ex. And we got our friendship back. What she destroyed, though, will never be the same. From as long as I can remember. She's the one person that I never managed to forgive. Sounds like he's an asshole for listening to her. Killing my daughter. I read your post history out of curiosity and it's made me sad and angry. I hope you're coping okay. Shaming someone trying to better themselves. Whether it might be an overweight person in the gym or someone working a minimum wage job. You have no idea what they are going through and yet you chose to make fun out of them. My so is doing this now. I recently lost 20 pounds and somehow he gained self-righteousness. Puts down overweight people. Calls them lazy. I just look at him like, are you serious? It took me 3+ YRS to lose 20 pounds. He saw me struggle for years. But he assumes strangers have no backstory or struggles like I did. They're just lazy. It's infuriating. Pedophilia. I've cut off my own family for this reason and I don't regret it. I feel bad for people who have pedophilia unless they do anything to harm children. Then they should burn in a ducking hole. It was this time 2 years ago that the man I thought I'd live happily ever after with raped me. Then he forced me to have an abortion after I found out I was pregnant. He blackmailed me and used my younger sisters to convince me that an abortion was the only way to save their honor and mine. I'm South Asian. A week after I lost my baby, he messaged my friend and asked for her hand in marriage. I was done. He later contacted me around 8 months later and blackmailed me into marrying him. Using the same reason. I was adamant not to let it happen but out of fear that he'd tell everyone I was shameless and a dirty person. I agreed. The 6 months I was with him were hell. Every day he threatened to tell my family what I willingly did and told me everyone would disown me if they knew. He said he did my family a favor by marrying such a waste of space. And that he would sacrifice his happiness by accepting me. As long as I cut all contact with my family and friends. He cheated on me. Forced me to watch porn with him. He is an addict. Banned me from going to work. Sleeping. Washing my clothes. Eating. Wearing makeup. Getting my degree and going to the gym. I spent $20,000 on him and his family on things like food, gifts, trips, etc. Every day I cooked for them and cleaned up after them. But it was never enough. Then came the slaps and sexual abuse if I refused. Every night I closed my eyes and let him do whatever he wanted because it meant that we wouldn't argue or I wouldn't get hit. It was only when I confided in a friend did I find the courage to tell my mom everything from 2017. My mom said that she doesn't give a shit about the world and what they say and that all honor is man-made. She birthed me. And she knows me well enough to know I was manipulated. We hugged then she asked if I felt better after letting it all out. I cried so much out of relief. We contacted the police. Got a restraining order. Arranged for my divorce and finally managed to get rid of him. Sadly he can't be imprisoned due to there being a lack of evidence. But I gave myself my own closure. I will never forgive him nor his family who knew everything. They gaslit me saying I made everything up and it never really happened. I had proof but they denied it outright. I thought I was going crazy because of how convincing they were. I'm still fighting for justice. I won't let him do this to another girl. He's definitely lit a fire in me. And my God, am I going to make him pay? The little sheet doesn't know what's about to hit him. I would find it impossible to forgive my so after being cheated on. I know a lot of people who said they've been able to overcome this. But it was the one thing I would never be able to get past. It is a total violation of trust. Humiliating me horrifically over the course of multiple years that led me to develop crippling mental health and acting like just because you were a teenager it means nothing. Taking any caring person for granted. It's been 15 years since the incident and I don't think I'll ever forgive my once best friend for having sex with my autistic sister. Edit, for clarification, my sister was born without oxygen and received major brain damage due to it. She's 18 months older than me, but still stuck at the age of 2 mentally. She can't talk actual words outside of mama and bubba. Being a pedophile, a rapist, or an animal abuser, I almost completely agree with you. But there is one thing that I want to say. Might be an unpopular opinion. But whatever. I feel bad for those who have to live with being one. To clarify, I do not feel bad for any who have acted on it. I'm talking the ones who don't. The ones who have the willpower to ignore it. 'Cause at the end of the day, you really can't choose what get your big dig up. So I really feel for those who have had to ignore it their entire lives. Another side is the probable self-hatred. As someone with one of the weirder fetishes out there, I definitely feel a sense of self-hatred because of what my body likes. I can't imagine the guilt knowing that I am into something like that. Even if you took no part in it. Just having those thoughts would make any normal person feel like they're a monster. Once again, I would just like to reiterate. I do not condone pedophiles who have acted on their urges in any way, shape, or form. What I'm saying is that I feel bad for the decent people who were cursed with having those sexual urges. Because you can't choose what you're into. At least as far as I'm aware. This motherfucker Daniel asked me to bring my foil Charizard Pokémon card to school to show it to him, and I know he stole it out of my backpack later that day while we were at recess. I'll take this second grade grudge to the goddamn grave. Downright despicable and wholly unforgivable. Abuse and bullying. Saying, if you ever need help, just let me know. I let people know I needed help. They never had the time. This comes from raising a special needs kid and desperately needing time to get errands done, or maybe having someone else step in for one bath time so I could rest my back. When my son died, I wouldn't let any of them offer me anything. No. I don't want your damn casseroles, and no. I don't want you coming back to my house. Stay the hell away, because it's what you did best while he was still alive and living at home. Taking advantage of someone's disability, mental, physical, whatever it may be. Theft. It's not the first time they stole, it's the first time you caught them. My father calling the police on me after his girlfriend moved in and he changed the locks while all my stuff was in the house still.